Hey there, this is Malorian, and this is going to be the first game of the 2014 Out of the Basement tournament. Now, before the game, me and my friend Russ were kind of comparing armies, my big night goblins and his dark elves, and we're talking about how, my army was basically designed to beat his. Well, wouldn't you know it, very first pairing, Brian up against Russ. So it's going to be interesting, it's going to be battle line, and let's see if I design my army to defeat Dark Elves as well as I thought I did. Alright, so looking at the battlefield here, you can already see where I was a little bit worried about this whole 4x4 thing with a tower in the middle of every board. But, either way, it should be alright. Luckily, I had this nice hill back on my side, so I could kind of bunker around. And for his side, I mean, my stuff is all my intro, so if you want to know, go look at that. But on his side, he has some Dark Riders on the right. He has some crossbowmen with his sorceress in there. Then he has 2 blocks of executioners, more Dark Riders, and I mean, pretty much it's a fast army. It doesn't have a lot of the newer stuff. I mean, there's none of the warlocks and stuff like that. But the big thing that's a real counter that I have to his is that he is running his general on a cold one in a big unit of cold one knights, and Doom Divers destroy those. So we'll see how this lines up, but really it's not a good matchup for my opponent. First thing gets off, though, that makes me wonder if those accusations are right, is that he gets off the whole blade win, or whatever it is, and that's the one where everyone in the unit has to take a weapon skill test or take a strength 4 hit. And I gotta say, these weapon skill 2 goblins at toughness 3 really didn't like that. So all of a sudden, my unit here of the spearmen just got decimated by that spell. So luckily for me, that was with Irresistible Force, and with the return of his magic, he actually forgot that spell and is no longer a wizard. So pretty lucky there, because I mean, if you would have done that a couple more times, my numbers game just wouldn't be working out for me. Otherwise, it looks like this, between his vanguards and stuff. He's right there on my flank, and this is why I put my 2 Night Goblin heroes in my bunker. So just in case, I can try and counter him there. And also I have that Squig Hopper there, the Cave Squig, that's ready just to kind of bounce over and deal with those fast cav as well. Obviously, those Cold One Knights are coming in. If I don't do a lot of damage to them before they get to my Squigs, that could be bad, but I should be all right. Otherwise, yeah, clearly he wants nothing to do with 70 short bows, so he's really kind of shifting his entire lines to the left, while only the crossbowmen are being left there to shoot at me. So on my turn, the Cave Squig does his thing and bounces into him. It's funny, whenever I have to use this guy, I always have to explain how you can't flee, you can't stand and shoot, you can only hold when you have random movement coming at you. A big part of this, I mean, Skaven used to do this stuff all the time, but you don't see much Skaven anymore, so it seems like people have forgotten about this rule. Otherwise, over here, I hit them with a fireball, and then promptly that was also with double 6, so I have no magic. So, hey, no magic for him, no magic for me, and I'm okay with that. My magic was pretty piddly. So otherwise, the Cave Squig is able to go and kill all those fast cav there. I could have gone and overran off the board, but when I measured the arc, I didn't need to because that one general couldn't, I wasn't in the 45-degree arc. And yeah, on that, yeah, the poor little general there, yeah, Doom Divers are so nasty, right? I start them in there, they might scatter off, I just scatter right back on, I do D6 strength 5 hits, no armors, and yeah, the whole unit just melted away. I should also say that I got pretty lucky with, it's D6 hits, and I got like 6 hits, 5 hits. So yeah, that was just really bad news for him. Otherwise, my army is just kind of carefully moving up to try and keep up my leadership. I had to move over my general. Also, I'm making sure he's not going to get assassinated. But another thing here, too, that I realized at the start of my turn is that the shortbow night goblins were actually outside of my general's range. So if that blade wind, whatever spell, would have hit them, they probably would have panicked off the board. So that would have been pretty bad. On his turn, what else is going to do with this guy, right? So he goes and he charges into my squigs. And after that's all done, I do a wound to him. He kills some of my guys. I think I win this one, but it doesn't matter anyway. And otherwise, his units are kind of moving around there on the left. He's just kind of shooting at me with the crossbowman, but he's just really trying to hide from my war machines and doing what he can. But, that tree can only provide so much cover. So on my turn, unfortunately, I fail animosity with the goblins on the far right, so they're not going to do anything. But the boss goes back to the bunker. The night goblins push forward to try and put the pressure on. Otherwise, I'm just hopping around, do some more shooting, damage more of the units in the back. Really trying to focus, say, like on the what's left of the other fast cav unit. And then in combat, I beat the general, he breaks, and I hold because I don't want to be charged by those executioners as well. Something I failed to mention is on the last turn when he charged in, he also hoped to charge in with the executioners as well, but rolled a double 1. He needed something high like a 10, but still, double 1s are not going to do it. So on his next turn, though, he charges in the executioners. And you know what? This is a perfect fight for what my squigs want, right? I don't really care about his super strong attack. It's going to kill my toughness 3 guy anyway. And then these 2 strength 5 attacks are going to rip these guys apart. So after that's all done, those executioners did a good deal to me. But you can see there, he's only left with the 3 models left. Otherwise, things aren't looking too good. His 1 unit there had backed up a little bit. His crossbowman, his general failed to rally and kept on going, and not looking good. So on my turn, I keep on chewing away. There's just the 1 model left, which I believe actually is the BSB. I think that was a BSB in that unit. But otherwise, I'm able to panic the crossbow unit, and they're barely on the board, like just on the very edge there. Otherwise, just kind of moving up, putting up the pressure. On his turn, he does what he can. He charges in here with both his small executioner unit and with the other Dark Riders. I'm able to kill all the Dark Riders, not do much to the executioners there, and then I just reform for ranks. I would like to flank them with the other unit of goblins, but I can't see them right now. But I also killed the other character, and that's pretty nice for me. So otherwise, on my turn, I believe I went and I Doom Divered off the general, so he's not there anymore. The Night Goblins kind of turned around so they could see these guys. Shooting kills a few more of the crossbowmen. Combat is more little, me dying and him slashing at me. Then back to his turn. Now, the big thing with this tournament here is you get extra points for holding pieces of terrain. So since there's a banner in that unit, they're trying to get over the hill to at least score some points. In the fight, still grinding away. There's about 5 of them left. Then in my turn, I just flanked those guys, totally wiped them out. Doom Divers wipe out the rest of the crossbowmen, land a rock on the sorceress's head, and that's it. It's a complete tabling. So there you go. Game 1 is a big win. And I'm not going to go and say like, oh, look at me, I'm a tactical genius. Because really, this was just a really bad matchup for my opponent. I had designed my list to deal with the new Dark Elves, And here they are, and not only is it that matchup I was trying to go for, but he also didn't have all the extra tricks and things that I was kind of expecting to have to deal with. Instead he had cold ones, that whereas I took my Doom Divers to go and really deal with Fast Cav and Warlocks, well, they love dealing with Knights, so that was great, right? And it's even smaller blocks of Executioners. I expected to see blocks of 30 and stuff like that, but the smaller blocks I can really handle with the Stabby Stabby. Now, I also got lucky in this game with the magic, right? Like we said, with that spell decimating my guys, it could have been very serious, and I could have easily lost a lot more guys. And also, I wouldn't have the numbers to deal with him and attrition him down. Also, we are talking about how with the Squig Herd Horde, still people just they're not really used to them, and they don't understand the whole thing or know that if you shoot them, it randomizes on the handlers. Once the handlers are all gone, they explode. So if on our little deployment battle, if he would have known that, he probably would have tried to pair against the crossbowmen against them, try and shoot them tons of times, kill those handlers, tons of points. So a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of me just getting a good matchup, but either way, starting the tournament with a big massacre win, and we're on to the next one. Thanks for watching.